In a daring social experiment, billionaire Elon Musk disguises himself as a homeless man to see how a prestigious Beverly Hills bank treats someone who appears destitute. But before we reveal the shocking twist, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story like this. And hey, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We love hearing from our viewers around the world. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the streets of Beverly Hills, casting a golden glow over the palm trees, swaying gently in the breeze. Elon Musk, clad in a plain gray hoodie, torn jeans, and a scruffy beard, walked along the sidewalk, blending into the crowd of wealthy shoppers and tourists. The world-renowned entrepreneur, known for his ambitious ventures like Tesla and SpaceX, was far from the image of a homeless man. But today, he was intentionally shedding his billionaire persona, stepping into the shoes of someone struggling to survive. He had come to test a theory that the treatment of individuals in financial institutions was often dictated by their appearance and status. Elon had chosen one of the wealthiest banks in Beverly Hills to conduct his little social experiment. The idea was simple: walk into the bank dressed as someone with nothing and see how he was treated. He wanted to know if the institution would treat him with the same respect and care they would show a high-profile client, or if he would be dismissed as a nobody. As he approached the grand entrance of the bank, his heart raced with anticipation. This was more than just a test. It was an opportunity to expose an often overlooked truth about human nature and the systems that perpetuate inequality. The revolving doors opened with a quiet swoosh, and he stepped inside. Inside the bank, the atmosphere was luxurious yet cold. Polished marble floors gleamed under the soft lighting, and the smell of fresh flowers from a nearby vase filled the air. Elegant chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting a glow on the plush seating areas. It was the kind of place where million-dollar deals were made, and a certain level of decorum was expected. Elon scanned the room, taking in the polished faces of the bankers and the high-end clientele. There was no doubt that the people here were accustomed to wealth. The bank's employees moved with purpose, their eyes glancing at the high-powered individuals walking in and out, always ready to assist with a smile. It was an institution built on service, but the question remained: who did that service truly extend to? Dressed in his worn hoodie, Elon made his way toward a reception desk. The receptionist, a woman in her 30s, looked up briefly and immediately returned to her work without acknowledging him. Her polite smile seemed to be reserved for those in sharp suits or polished dresses. Elon paused in front of the desk, waiting for her to speak, but she didn't seem to notice him. His presence was nothing more than a shadow to her. He cleared his throat. "Excuse me." The receptionist glanced up finally, her eyes briefly scanning him. A flicker of judgment crossed her face, but she quickly masked it with a neutral expression. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone distant and unwelcoming. "I'd like to open an account," Elon said, keeping his voice steady. The receptionist's eyebrows raised slightly. "I see. I'm afraid you'll need an appointment for that. You can call our office for a meeting. I can give you the number." She handed him a business card without even offering to assist him further. Elon's stomach churned. He had expected this. In a place like this, he knew that appearances mattered, but he had never imagined just how cold and dismissive they could be. Before he could speak again, the receptionist's attention had already shifted to a well-dressed woman who had entered the bank. With a bright smile, the receptionist stood up and greeted her with warm enthusiasm. Elon watched as the woman was ushered into a private office, her needs attended to immediately. The difference in treatment was undeniable. As Elon stood there observing the scene, his eyes were drawn to a young woman working at one of the nearby desks. She was different from the others, focused, kind, and unpretentious. Her name tag read Clara, and there was something about the way she engaged with her clients that made her stand out. She was helping an elderly man, speaking to him with respect and empathy, her voice gentle yet confident. Despite the crowded bank, Clara's demeanor suggested she wasn't just going through the motions. She genuinely cared. Elon decided to test her, curious if she would respond differently than the others. He approached her desk, his heart beating faster now, his palms sweating. In his disguise, he was just another face in the crowd, a nobody. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that Clara might offer him something more than the indifference he had received so far. "Excuse me." Elon said softly, his voice shaky from the weight of the moment. Clara looked up, her expression calm and patient. "How can I help you today?" she asked, smiling kindly. For a moment, Elon just stood there, surprised by the warmth in her eyes. It was a stark contrast to the cold reception he had received from the others. He cleared his throat. "I was hoping to open an account. I don't have much, but I need a place to start over." Clara didn't hesitate. "Of course," she said immediately, motioning for him to take a seat. "Let's start with some basic information. We'll take it one step at a time." Elon couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. Clara treated him like a person, not a stereotype or a problem to be dealt with. She didn't flinch at his appearance or make any judgment about his situation. Instead, she focused on his needs. As they spoke, Elon shared more about his background, weaving in just enough detail to make the interaction feel genuine, but still maintaining his disguise. Clara listened intently, nodding and offering advice when needed, her focus entirely on him. There was no rush, no dismissiveness, just a sincere effort to help. As the conversation continued, Elon noticed the others in the bank, glancing over at him and Clara. He could see the difference in how they treated him now. Some looked at him with suspicion, others with curiosity, but none of them seemed to have the same openness Clara did. For the first time that afternoon, Elon felt like he wasn't just a project to be dealt with. He was a person, worthy of respect and care. It was a feeling he hadn't expected to find in this world of wealth and status. But Clara's simple act of kindness made all the difference. As the conversation continued, Elon began to relax. The discomfort of his disguise faded, replaced by an unexpected sense of calm. Clara's sincerity was a stark contrast to the cold professionalism that had defined his earlier interactions. Her focus on genuinely helping him was the kind of service he had hoped to find when he first stepped into the bank. But just as the exchange seemed to be going smoothly, a familiar voice interrupted their conversation. A manager, dressed in an immaculate suit, walked over to Clara's desk. His sharp eyes scanned Elon, quickly making an assessment. "Clara," he began, his tone businesslike but condescending, "we need to wrap this up. We have higher priority clients waiting. You're spending too much time on this one." Clara's face remained neutral, but Elon could see the tension in her eyes. He had already felt the unease in the air when other employees had glanced over. The manager's words were a reminder of the hierarchy at play, the invisible barriers that separated individuals by their appearance and status. "Excuse me, sir," Clara replied, standing her ground. "I'm just making sure we take care of our clients, no matter who they are. Every person deserves our attention and respect." The manager raised an eyebrow, clearly displeased by her response. "Clara, you know how it works. We can't afford to waste time on people who aren't going to bring in any business." Elon watched as Clara's posture stiffened, her lips pressing together in determination. She didn't flinch. She didn't back down. Instead, she stood tall, unwavering in her commitment to treating everyone equally. The manager's gaze flickered toward Elon, and for a moment, Elon saw a flash of realization in the manager's eyes, a look of unease, as if he had just recognized who Elon Musk really was. A subtle shift occurred. The manager's tone softened, but the judgment still lingered in his voice. "I see," he said, his gaze lingering on Elon. "Well, perhaps we should revisit this later." Before he walked away, Elon stood up, feeling the weight of the moment. He reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out his wallet, revealing a prestigious business card with the SpaceX logo on it. Clara's eyes widened as she recognized the name on the card. She gasped. "Elon Musk?" she whispered, her voice filled with astonishment. Elon smiled, his eyes locking with hers. "Yes, it's me. And Clara, I've been testing how you treat people, no matter their status. And I have to say, you passed with flying colors." Clara's shock quickly turned into admiration. The manager, who had been dismissive moments ago, now looked mortified. He didn't know how to respond. Elon continued, "You showed integrity and compassion today, Clara. That's something rare, and it's exactly what the world of banking needs. You deserve recognition." The tension in the room was palpable as Clara absorbed the revelation. Her eyes were wide with disbelief, but as the shock began to wear off, something else flickered in her gaze: determination. She stood in front of Elon, her posture straight, her voice steady. "I never expected this," she said, still processing the reality of the situation. "But I believe that everyone deserves to be treated with respect, no matter who they are. Whether you're a billionaire or someone just trying to get by, we all deserve the same kindness." Elon nodded, a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Exactly. That's what's missing in a lot of industries today. The focus has always been on profits, but what if we started focusing on people instead?" Clara's words had resonated deeply with him, and it was clear that she had the potential to do something more with her values. Elon had seen the world of banking from the inside, with its rigid systems and profit-driven motives, but he was now convinced that the world needed a different approach, a model that prioritized people over profits and integrity over exploitation. And that's when the idea struck him. "Clara," he began, his voice growing more serious, "I want to help you take this further. We can create something new, a bank that values honesty, compassion, and fairness, a bank that works for the people, not just for the bottom line. I'm talking about Equity First Bank." Clara's eyes lit up with excitement, a fire igniting within her. "You're serious?" "Absolutely," Elon replied. "I've seen the way you work. You care about people, and that's exactly the kind of leadership we need." With those words, the foundation of something transformative began to take shape. The idea of Equity First Bank, a bank built not on profit margins, but on the core values of integrity, trust, and empowerment, was born. Clara, now fully awake to the opportunity in front of her, felt a rush of inspiration. This wasn't just a job or a career path, it was a movement. She could already picture it, a bank where people could come not only to secure their finances, but to find real support, transparency, and a sense of community. A place where every customer was treated with the same respect Elon had shown her today. "Thank you, Elon," she said, her voice steady and filled with gratitude. "This could change everything." "I believe it will," Elon responded, his smile growing wider. "Let's make sure we change the way banking works, together." As they shook hands, a sense of purpose filled the air. What had started as a simple social experiment had now evolved into a partnership that would challenge the status quo and reshape the financial landscape. The months that followed were nothing short of transformative. Elon and Clara, now business partners, worked tirelessly to turn their vision for Equity First Bank into a reality. They hired like-minded individuals who shared their passion for creating a different kind of bank, one that would focus on inclusivity, innovation, and empowering communities rather than simply accumulating wealth. Word of their mission spread quickly, and soon, a growing number of people, both customers and investors, wanted to be a part of this new approach to banking. Clara, who had started as a trainee at the Beverly Hills Bank, found herself in the leadership role she had always dreamed of. Her values, once considered idealistic in the corporate world, were now at the heart of a revolution in banking. As the bank began to grow, Clara took every opportunity to mentor the next generation of financial leaders. She encouraged her team to prioritize relationships over transactions, to consider the long-term impact of their decisions on customers and communities. Clara's leadership style, grounded in compassion and integrity, became the blueprint for how every employee at Equity First Bank operated. Elon's role was more behind the scenes, but his influence was felt at every level. His support and belief in Clara's vision were instrumental in giving her the freedom to lead with authenticity. He often reminded her that the heart of their mission was to ensure that people, regardless of their financial status, could access the services they needed without fear of being judged or mistreated. The impact of their work was felt far beyond the walls of their new headquarters. Equity First Bank quickly became known for its commitment to its customers, offering low-interest loans, financial education programs, and resources to help those in underserved communities. They introduced innovative banking models, such as profit sharing for loyal customers, and prioritized green energy investments to promote sustainability. As Clara traveled the country, speaking at conferences and meeting with potential partners, she was often approached by aspiring leaders in the financial industry. Many of them were inspired by her journey, from the humble bank trainee to the CEO of a revolutionary institution, and sought her guidance on how they too could make a difference. But despite all the success, Clara never lost sight of the bank's founding mission: equity. First Bank wasn't just about changing the financial system, it was about changing the lives of people, empowering them to take control of their futures. One evening, as Clara looked out the window of her office, reflecting on how far they had come, she couldn't help but feel grateful for that fateful day when Elon Musk had walked into her life, disguised as a homeless man, and sparked a revolution that would reshape the world of banking for generations to come. The story of Clara, Elon, and Equity First Bank was just beginning, and they were determined to continue their work, touching lives and inspiring change, one customer at a time.